Chapter 17. The story of competition versus creative. Are there consequences to breaking a law? I believe you cannot actually break a law, you can only break yourself against a law. Think on this. Ignorance of a law does not protect you from the negative results you get if you negate it, and this is largely where the problem lies. We learn the laws of man as we go through life, and they are necessary for social order. But where do we get knowledge of the laws that govern everything around us? Of course, we know the obvious ones, like gravity causes things to fall down and not up, water finds its own level, or heat expands, etc. But what are the laws that say? We bring into our lives the fruit of our thoughts, that we attract to us the definite desires that we believe in our hearts are available to us, that unforgiveness is a barrier to peace and joy, that creation always wins against competition, etc. The precepts laid out in this book are based on laws that are not man-made and therefore cannot be altered by men. Human laws are specific to environment. For example, if you drive at 140 miles per hour on the motorways in England, you would be breaking the law, but on the motorways in Germany, you wouldn't. Creative laws are also specific, inasmuch as you need to understand the environment they work in to benefit from them. Edison knew how to make a filament glow. Keeping it glowing was a bigger challenge. The best he could do was keep it lighting for a few seconds, then it would burn out. He needed to create an environment to allow it to stay lighting. He developed a sealed glass globe environment for the filament. It stayed lighting. The bulb was born. We can create our own environment that allows us to work with the laws of creation. That environment is developed on the inside. Growth is always inside out. Is there a limit to creation? In our mind, we see a pie cut up into slices. We understand that if we take a big slice, somebody else has to get a smaller slice. Logical? Yes. However, with creation, there is more pie, no limit. There is more than enough for everyone. In fact, a piece has been set aside for each of us to claim. Creation, like a mold, is dependent on what shape you make. When you pour in the substance of knowledge, understanding, wisdom, expectation, and gratitude, the mold is the shape of your character, your self-image. Creation versus competition. There is continually a struggle within us between the competitive and the creative. Everything we learn from our upbringing, parents, school, work, and social living, is based on competitiveness. The realization that striving to be anything can actually be counterproductive is counterculture. Competitiveness seeps into almost everything. When we realize that we can create the life we want without competing with anyone, then the striving goes out of the equation. In the world, if someone goes up, someone has to go down. However, as with the cornflake story, when you get bigger, you move up, but it's because you get bigger, not because you are competing against someone else. You don't get warm by competing with the cold. You forget the cold by concentrating on heat. You don't get rich by striving to get out of debt. You get rich by being creative and concentrating on growth. The most important things are: 1. Create an image of what you desire. 2. See it. Let it come alive in you. 3. Expectation is the master key. Believe in your heart that it's yours. You are worthy of it. Be grateful. This emotion is powerful. 4. Don't let doubt in, no matter what your reality looks like. Remember, the outside is a reflection of the inside. 5. Stop doubt, confusion, and indecision from creeping in. That's what your willpower is for. 6. Creation is stress and strive free. You don't make it happen. You let it happen. Can you imagine getting into a taxi and giving the driver directions to your destination? Then 5 minutes later you tell him to go somewhere else. Then 5 minutes later you change your mind again. After doing this a few times, he would stop and ask you to get out of his car. We might laugh at this, but we do it all the time. We decide something we want, and then, depending on our current and changing circumstances, we continually change our minds. No wonder we don't get what we want. We generally don't know what we want, or more so, what we deserve, and we leave expectation at the door of our perceived reality. As I'm thinking about this, there is a fly in my car. He is trying to fly through my car windscreen. He wants to get to the outside. He can see his goal but can't get to it. He thinks that he can get there by working harder. He's competing against the glass, trying to get the old plan to work better, even when he can see that he is going nowhere. He will kill himself by exhaustion. He needs to take a few steps back, be creative, examine his options. His goal can stay the same, but he needs to look at alternative routes. My car window is open. Freedom awaits him if he'll just take a minute to look around at the options, even if it feels like he might have to go backward for a while. In the end, I feel sorry for him and help him out the window. I guess somehow he deserved it. So, let's look at what actually matters to us and how we can construct a creative consciousness. Remember this powerful statement. You have power over what you believe, however. What you believe has power over you. First you make your belief, then your belief makes you. Have you ever taken the time to write down what really matters to you? How much time do you actually spend on what matters to you? Anytime you come up against something where you feel inclined to say, I can't, ask yourself this question instead. What would it take for me to do that? I find the most powerful approach to finding your answer is to get a blank piece of paper, write your question on the top of the page, then underneath write, in large letters, what is possible? List out every possible solution regardless of whether you think you can bring it to pass. Rearrange the wording of the question if you are still struggling to find the answer. The seed of a solution always reveals itself to a powerful question. Do you believe love is available to you? Do you believe money is available to you? Do you believe your hopes and dreams are available to you? Do you believe that a fulfilled life is available to you? Do you believe you are meant for more? Do you believe that you are enough? Do you believe that your greatest achievements are in front of you? Do you believe you have access to the power that can build a fulfilling life? Do you believe you are, right now, the perfect age to achieve your life's goals? Do you know what is meaningful in your life? What about your goals in life? Are they achievable for you? What you have used to get you here won't get you there. Do you think that what you have is not enough? What do you think you are missing? Where can you find that? What or who do you need to get that? What do you think is stopping you from living a fulfilled life right now? How do you think you missed it so far? Do you think education is what you're missing? What would that get you? Do you think all educated people are living a fulfilled life? If not, what do you think needs to be added to education for a fulfilled life? Do you think a lucky break is needed for a fulfilled life? How can you position yourself to get a lucky break? Is everyone who got a lucky break, let's say, like winning the lottery, living a fulfilled life? If not, what do they need to add to their win to produce a fulfilled life? A good job, maybe? Does everyone who has a good job live a fulfilled life? If not, what are they missing? A good partner in life, maybe. Is everyone who has a good partner living a fulfilled life? If not, what are they missing? Maybe a nice holiday twice a year? Maybe great children? Maybe no stress? What does that look like? Maybe good health? How can you get that? Maybe a great house or a nice car. What about happiness? How can we get that? You cannot chase happiness. Happiness is a byproduct of these ingredients. 1. Someone to love. 2. Something worthwhile to do. 3. Someone to spend time with. 4. Something to look forward to. What are you missing from your life? Do you deserve it? Who decides what you deserve? Who are the people and what are the things that matter in your life? Are you worthy of them? You don't get what you want, you only get what you can imagine and believe you deserve. Our happiness is based on our expectations. For example, a bronze medalist could be happier than a silver medalist if the bronze medalist had expectations to come fourth and the silver medalist had expected to come first. A person who earns 40,000 euros could be happier than a person earning 50,000 euros if the first person got a rise from 35,000 to 40,000 and the second person got a pay cut from 55,000 to 50,000. Our expectation is connected to our imagination, our perspective. What do you imagine you can achieve? What is the height of your expectations of yourself? Do you know that you have created the life you are currently living Do you know that you have the creative power to change that to the life you want? Do you know that the only competition you have is what you allow inside your own head? The stories you tell yourself. Do you let circumstances dictate who and what you can become? You have power over what you believe, however. What you believe has power over you. Do you short-circuit your creativeness with thoughts of doubt and unbelief? One sure way to break out of stinking thinking is to find and focus on your passion in life. What is it that gets you excited, motivated, and full of energy? Have you buried that so deep that you don't really know anymore? Search for it. Dig as deep as you need to find it and revive it. Dust it down, polish it with a renewed vigor. Place it high in your life, picture it with lots of details, see yourself in it. Everyone has a passion. It has been in you from the start. You have clues in your life as to what it is. You find you are drawn to types of TV programs, books, and conversations that are pointers. You find that these bring out emotions in you when other things don't. You've probably found yourself saying, "I wish I could," or "if only I could." But you let your circumstances stop you. Circumstances are part of the competitive world. You feel you have to overcome them before you can have the life you want. However, when the dream is big enough, the creative power inside you says, the rules of the competitive world don't count. Yes, even after you have rediscovered your passion, it will take work to bring it to life. But it takes work to maintain the life you are dissatisfied with now anyway. Think of it like this. If you discovered oil under the field behind your house, you would still have to research what was there. Plan. Dig down. Get the right machinery in place to extract it, and the knowledge of how to bring it to the surface. Discovering your passion is the start. Believing you can bring it to light and create the life you really want is just a journey from there. Do you define yourself by your reflection in a mirror? Are you as good as you want to be? Are you capable of getting better? What evidence in your life do you have that you have what it takes to build the life you want? You have all you need already on the inside of you. You just need to draw it out. You may need more tools, like knowledge and understanding, to see it and believe it, but it is there. Some people say, "My passion is for X, but where can I use that?" Perhaps you love baking bread and cakes. You wonder, "But I don't have a way to use that." Write down every place that baking goes on, in your home, in a cake shop, in a restaurant, in a soup kitchen for the poor, in a bakery shop or business, in a retirement home, in a school classroom, or adult learning center, etc. Get creative in your thinking. As I've said already, a man's gift makes room for him. Obviously, that use of the word man covers all genders. What if the shadows in our lives are actually our own shadows? Are we standing in our own way? Are we blocking the light from our path forward ourselves? What shadows do we cast? Could it be true that our challenges in life are self-inflicted? Our inability to see the path to our destiny is our unwillingness to let go of where we are and who we have become? So how do we get out of the way of casting our own shadow on our future? We need to become transparent to ourselves by being totally honest about our dreams, desires, motivations, expectations, and limitations. What do I mean by limitations? I mean what we can achieve based on what we know so far. We must be willing to acknowledge where we are and what we need to change and learn in order to become the person we need to be, to fulfill our destiny. Remember, it is the trajectory of our journey that's important, not the speed. Do you feel like you are competing against your past, your history, your mistakes, your past lack of judgment or understanding? Most people do. So, how do we deal with that? Read again what Albert Einstein said. We cannot solve the significant issues in our lives with the same level of thinking that we use to create them. What will affect your life most dramatically over the next 2 to 5 years are the books you read and the people you meet. If you want to change some things in your life, you are going to have to change some things in your life. And that might mean some of the people you hang around with and some of the things you spend your time doing. Act as if what you do matters, because it does to you. How do you answer the question, who are you? Do you answer with what you do? Most of us don't actually know who we are, so we think of ourselves as what we do, our perceived value. Are you your name, your occupation? What defines you? What actually matters to you? Are you a human being or a human doing? Yes, life is full of questions, and the sooner you start into answering them, the better your life will become. However, remember this, the process is for clarity, not judgment. When you can't seem to find the answer to a question, keep rearranging the question. The right answer is always behind the right question, so get really good at asking questions. Have you noticed that all through this book I have been asking you questions? I have asked the same questions in numerous different ways. My mission is to keep asking you questions so that one of them produces the right answer for you and in you. My friend kept telling me that while he loved self-help books, he couldn't find one that actually spelt out what he was meant to do to be successful. There is a reason for that. You are supposed to actually get involved in your own life, use your own brain, seek out your own understanding, and discover who you are by realizing what's on the inside of you. That's your job. A book can only ever show you the path. You have to walk it. So, how do we employ creative thinking instead of competitive thinking? What is creative thinking anyway? I believe the universe, and all that is in it, is creative. I believe that the evidence of an intelligent source in the universe is overwhelming. I believe we are part of that creativeness, and that creativeness is very much a part of us. We live in a three-dimensional world, but what part of that world is thought? Or where can the images we picture in our mind be found? If a surgeon opens a brain, do images fall out? Where do we feel our emotions? Earlier in the book we spoke about, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he. What part of us is a thought, and do we not think in our brains? Look at it this way. Start with a dot on a page. What dimension does this belong to? In geometry, a dot does not have a dimension. It is called dimension 0. If you were to draw a thin straight line, it would be accepted as one-dimensional. Draw 3 more lines making a square shape, and it is now two-dimensional. The one-dimensional line is now part of the two-dimensional square shape and is controlled by it. If the square moves, the line must also move. Now extend the lines out to complete a box shape. This is now a 3-dimensional shape which controls the 1- and 2-dimensional shapes. If the box moves, all 3 dimensions must move. We live in a 3-dimensional world of matter, but what controls the 3 dimensions? The 4th dimension. The 4th dimension is the spiritual dimension, where thoughts, imaginations, and emotions live. But where exactly is that? Has not everyone considered this at some point? If or when the 4th dimension moves, then everything in the 3rd dimension must also move, because the 3rd dimension is part of the 4th dimension and controlled by it. The 4th dimension is the creative dimension. Later I will go a little deeper into this subject, but for now, let's just say that nothing happens in the 3rd dimension until it has first happened in the 4th dimension, and our access to that is through our imagination and our words. If nothing happens in the 3rd dimension until it has first happened in the 4th dimension, then you can see why creativity will always win out over competitiveness, which is a 3rd dimension activity. So, let me give you an example. Numbers on a page in front of you belong in the 3rd dimension. However, their meaning belongs in the 4th dimension. Let's say the numbers you are looking at are on your bank statement. You derive a meaning from them. You perceive that they are a commentary of your life in numbers. They're just numbers. Someone else could look at the same numbers and get a totally different meaning. They can actually cause your heart to race, your hands to sweat, your legs to feel weak, and your head to feel dizzy. But they are just a set of numbers on a piece of paper. You extract something real from something on paper. Yes, they can have real consequences in the 3rd dimension, your life, but the solution to the issues they bring up can be found in the 4th dimension of your imagination and your creativity. In fact, that's the only place to find the solution. You have incredible power available to you in your own personal piece of the creative 4th dimension. Use it. Our thoughts are in our mind, and our mind is our brain at work. Let's take a quick look at our biology and what that says about us. Are your genes a blueprint of you? Is that who you are? Do genes control your life? 1953 saw the introduction of DNA to the world. We thought that the secret of life was discovered. Our traits come from our genes became the central dogma. RNA, a copy of the genes that makes proteins, gives you your physical structure. Your genes are programmed in your DNA. You were pre-programmed before you were even born. You were given the DNA and your genes, and now the rest of your life is to unfold the genetic program. You are the protein. Can you go back and change your DNA and genes? No. So we don't control our lives, we're controlled by our DNA. Is this true? What if you don't like your genes? Can nothing be done? This has never been scientifically demonstrated, and neither is it a scientific reality. So, do genes really control our lives? The genes live in a structure called the nucleus, which is a dense organelle present in most eukaryotic cells, typically a single rounded structure bounded by a double membrane containing the genetic material. The textbooks say that the nucleus is the brain of the cell. The nucleus is where the DNA is, and so it is the control center of the cell. Dr. Bruce Lipton, Ph.D., in his book, The Biology of Belief, said if you have an organism and you remove the brain from the organism, what happens? The organism dies. Correct? No, not immediately. The cells stay alive for 2 or more months, operating as they should, with no nucleus, so no genes. The piece that is missing is the ability to renew itself. So, do genes control you? No. A gene is a blueprint to make a protein. Can a blueprint be on or off? Go to an architect's office. Ask him, is the blueprint for a building on or off? They'll look at you as though you are crazy. How can a blueprint be on or off? It just is. Exactly like our genes, they are simply information like a blueprint for your home. You could leave the blueprint for your home in a field forever, but it won't build your home, it's just information. Important information, yes, but with no control. I understand that this is a very complex subject, so I don't want to dumb it down to 2 paragraphs and suggest that we might know it all. However, let me finish with this point. In 1942, C.H. Waddington coined the phrase epigenetics, which basically means outside control or above genetics, in other words, a way to control our genetics from a higher thought. He believed, and much research now agrees with him, including Dr. Bruce Lipton, Ph.D., that the gene is controlled by exterior and environmental signals. How they react and how they function is directly related to how you process the environmental data signals as they come to you via your senses. What we believe affects how our body reacts. We have the power to activate different aspects of the information in our genes by what we believe in our heart. Does that mean we could deactivate a part of that information in our gene that is causing us to be ill? I believe it is possible. Does that mean that we could activate a part of the information in our gene that has laid dormant in us, like a gift or a talent, by what we believe? I believe that is also possible. Is that actually where the creative lives within us? I believe it is. To be creative or extraordinary, you must access parts of your mind and spirit that reach outside of your normal thought process. This is the creative world.